I'm really happy to be in the stew talking our shit.
Absolutely.
For real, though. Since you have last seen us, we traveled the world. We have dealt with a ton of drama, like endless
As
drama.
always.
Endless drama, as always.
Am I the drama?
Am I the drama? Probably, but also the astrology is really cooking for Joey and I because we are Leo risings. And we're coming for that ass this year, all of us. So that's cool. Really feeling that. Oh, Happy New Year, I guess.
It's not the New Year till Chinese New Year.
Which is February 17th.
I know.
And we only celebrate that Chinese New Year.
Because we're Chinese. I find it funny, though, that being Chinese is so cool now. Like, everyone's trying to Chinese max. And
They are.
I've been Chinese since the jump.
I've been Chinese since I was born. Does it offend you that people are Chinese maxing? Like, is it racist?
I don't think that it's offensive, but I want people to remember how awesome it is to be Chinese when Chinese people are hurting.
Absolutely. I get that. I do think the reels are really funny, though.
All we do is send each other how to be Chinese or just Chinese memes.
But then we also get, like, incredibly upset about what's going on in the world, too. So I feel like we, like, cancel out our toxicity with we actually show up and do shit for people.
Yeah. We're extremely politically incorrect between each other.
Correct.
But then we try to help the community as much as possible.
But that's also being comfortable with somebody, right?
Yeah.
We would definitely get canceled for our DMs, but we also like show TF up, so whatever. Anyways, hi, I am Miles.
Hi, I'm Joey.
This is SPILF.
Yeah. So I recently started a Substack because I really admire your Substack.
Also, Gary Vee told us that Substack is going to take over 2026, and we love Gary Vee.
Mm-hmm. We listen to our elders.
And we disrespect our surroundings.
So based on my second Substack post, joeynogood.substack.com.
It's really good.
I realized that I don't really have a relationship with my father, and he's always been an absent father, which made me think of you because you didn't even grow up with a dad. Mm-hmm. So what was that like?
There's like 800 answers to that question. I think ultimately growing up without a father is entirely the reason I have deep insecurities, entirely the reason why certain social norms make absolutely no sense to me, is entirely the reason why I have anger issues, and is entirely the reason why I have gone in and out of suicidal ideation. There's a lot to be said for that, but I think I'm really coming to a place. I was actually thinking about this recently before your Substack, where I'm no longer mad at my dad. I just think it's truly one of the most despicable acts. Mm-hmm. I put it in the same category as all the things people go to prison for, weirdly. It is truly like the greatest form of abuse.
Yeah, I think as I was thinking about my situation and my relationship with my dad, I was reflecting on it because I feel like I've been trying to make a meal out of breadcrumbs in a lot of my romantic relationships with men and exploring like, where does that come from? Mm-hmm. And I think it is having an emotionally and physically absent father, those tiny moments of affection or specific memories of even the amount of days that you spend with them become an entire relationship. Like you try to measure a lifetime worth of love based on like a couple days. And that's really developed some terrible habits of accepting the bare minimum from my romantic partners or male friends or men in my life. Like I just allow men to do so little when I give so much in return, and it all stems from my dad. And so when you don't have a father, how do you learn to be a man?
Well, first I'm going to say I think your situation weirdly is worse than mine because this is an insane example that I'm going to use, but what's better, doing a little bit of heroin or wondering what heroin is like?
Oh, shit.
I always was just like, what's heroin like in this context? You were like tiny doses of heroin your whole life. So In my opinion, yours is worse because I don't even have any basis. Like, I was just like, who is this ghost figure that I'm just making up? I just got to create a fantasy. You had to live with the consequence. So in a way, it's worse. I think what my situation might be worse, sir. I hang out with my daughter a lot. The confusion of like, what the hell does it even mean to be a man? Obviously, for me, I have a different relationship with men. I am a man. I'm straight. For me, it was I'm attracted to the baddest, gnarliest dude in the room.
Is that because the male role models that you did have were that kind of dude? Like you had uncles, you had family friends. Who in your life served as a male role model or provided you a model of masculinity for you?
I think this is also what's strange about me is I basically had 3 men that stick out in my life that provided a lot of different things for me. Obviously, first and foremost is he was my dad. He was like, this is right and wrong. You're fucking up. You know what I mean? Like he was the version of a dad that you would see in a movie. My uncle is of the boomer generation, so obviously the way he parented us is very different than the way I do, but looking back in life, I'm very grateful for him. And then there was 2 other men. There's a program called Big Brothers Big Sisters of America.
Yeah.
Then there's another program called Jewish Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I have a Jewish big brother who came into my life when I was 13. He's still in my life in a very real way. His sons call me Uncle Miles. My daughter calls him Uncle. His wife I've known since I was 13. Of course, my big brother and I did everything they told you not to do because, you know.
There were meant to be boundaries and you're like, no, we're family now.
Yeah, birds of a feather, right? Like week 1, he was like, I don't care. Like you're going to meet my girlfriend and fly to New York with me. And I was like, bet. So.
It sounds like a pattern that you've got.
Absolutely. But my big brother also doesn't have a dad, and my big brother is like the opposite of me. Aside from the rule breaking thing, he's very calm, very gentle, very chill. He's just everything that in a lot of ways I think I'm not, in the best way possible, and he's literally the best dad ever. Like my nephews are the coolest.
Yeah.
And then I have one more guy who was my next door neighbor. So when I was 13, he was 24. And he grew up exact opposite of all of us. He grew up in Georgia, super nuclear family. Also now a dad, very close with him still, but he was kind of my other big brother. And this like tripod of masculinity really shaped me, but I always went the opposite of all of them. I always leaned way more gangster than nice guy, but
why? If those were the 3 men that were most present in your life, and it seemed like one was, you know, stereotypically a macho boomer guy, and then 2 of them are actually role models that you really look up to that have a more traditional role, very family oriented role, what attracts you to gangster mode of manlyhood?
Safety. I didn't grow up in a time where being a sensitive guy was cool. I've only recently learned how insanely sensitive I am. I am so not tough. And everyone who knows me well would be like, Miles is like a pit bull, but he also is just like really sensitive. But I grew up in an era where it was still lame to cry. I didn't cry in my life. So it was just safety. It was so much safer hanging out with the guys who like will beat your ass because then I don't have to worry about them beating my ass.
Yeah.
I think now also more I learn, I was like heavily masking my whole life, but it was way safer to be friends with somebody who will like fuck your shit up.
Given these modes of being and being able to observe what you like and what you didn't like, what do you think really informed the way that you present as a man? And what does masculinity mean to you?
Well, I've been trying to define what the fuck masculinity means since I was like 14. I didn't experience confusion about my gender or my sexuality. I think I've done a lot of things that where I grew up and how I grew up would be defined as not being a man. Where I'm from, it would be called being a bitch. I think I've done a lot of that. I think I have had a lot of trouble with women and my relationships with them because of the way I was raised to be a man and being so sensitive, and also growing up with single mom. I've really, really worked on the fact that I understand how to manipulate a relationship with a woman in my life a lot differently than a lot of other guys do, because I had to do that growing up.
Interesting.
I grew up in a house of women. I understand the way women speak to each other, not as one and not as in depth as you do, but I understand it a lot more than the average guy. And I realized it made me really manipulative without realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's not still wrong, but that was a heavy realization for me.
Do you feel like you have more of an understanding of what it means to be a woman than what it means to be a man, weirdly?
I do. I feel way more comfortable around women than I do men a lot of the time, which is weird because I'm also attracted to women and women are also attracted to me. So it's confusing. I mean, I only recently learned that, honestly, in the last probably year, really stating where I'm at, the boundaries, what the relationship actually is. But it was hard, and it takes a lot of humility to admit these things. A lot of men, we don't grow up being taught to have humility. It's actually the exact opposite of what our science tells us to do. We are literally bred to be alphas. We are raised to be competitive creatures. So it's really hard to sit back and be like, whoa, I'm manipulative. And also now what's really weird is this performative bullshit I see constantly. I know some of the doggest dogs you have ever met in your life out here on internet saying what I'm saying because it sounds good. I'm not trying to fucking sound good. That shit is hard. I'm having a hard time.
There is that performative side, but the way that you just said you're bred to be alpha or want to be a certain mode, I think that you're more comfortable with a lot of female friends, but if you take a look at my roster of closest friends, it's all dudes. It's like you, Spencer, Trig. I am a woman who's more comfortable around men. Might have to do with my autism or maybe like male brain theory for autistic women. But in a lot of my male friends, I notice the opposite. I'm almost never friends with the guy that's like, I'm so alpha. Like I am friends with men who are more artistic, are more sensitive, are very caring.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes. Miles, do you have something to say?
I'm going to push back on that
Sure.
for 1 second. Spencer is not the stereotypical AI generated alpha male, but Spencer also is very much an alpha male. He's a C-suite executive at a tech company. That's very alpha.
Okay.
Trig is literally a Navy SEAL. I am literally the biggest mouth fucking run into traffic for you friend ever. So not really.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think any of my guy friends are meatheads.
Sure.
And that they're not in touch with their emotions. I don't know many of my guy friends, except for you, who were actually raised or continue to believe that it's not okay to cry. For some reason, a lot of the men that I surround myself with aren't my version of a stereotypical alpha bro. Like they're not constantly talking about protein shakes.
No, I don't think we
they're
are.
like they're not trying to just rack up a body count. Like they are emotionally more available, more in tune. They have female friends. I personally wouldn't be friends with men who subscribe to toxic masculinity. Like I just couldn't hang with that.
Well, first and foremost, we're still learning how to even talk about toxic masculinity. Let's be honest, it's a new concept. It's not been around for 50 years whatsoever. Secondly, I think we're also redefining societally what an alpha male is. To me, you just described a bunch of alpha ass activities. Eating like liver hearts and like being Andrew Tate is where I'm from is you're a bitch. Like, I would immediately be like, you've never gotten laid. You're a fucking liar. Those who are loudest are usually the most full of shit. The scariest gangsters you'll ever meet are the quiet ones.
Oh, yeah.
Tiny, like, just chill,
Like
laid,
me.
laid back. But, it's that thing of just, we're redefining what all of this means. I also just think this whole alpha concept is really damaging to young men.
I think the reason why I wouldn't call them alpha males is because I hate the term alpha.
Right.
Like, I think of them as a really great example of masculinity. Like, these are man.
But
Men.
that's technically, this is like really heady for no reason, but that's technically an alpha. Like, my uncle is an alpha male because he is very kind, very polite, very above board. That to me, I mean, also he will kill you, but like, that's because that's last resort. He's able to just constantly handle himself in a good way. You would never feel uncomfortable around my uncle, ever.
Right.
But I also was raised with that. Like, he has a gun on him at all times. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, for people that I grew up with, it is way more important that you are polite than running around with your shirt off, beating your chest like some dumbass.
Millennial men are taught by some of their moms not to hold the same gender roles as boomers were, with like, be a little bit more cognizant, be more equitable, be emotionally in tune. But I also think that because there was such a push towards, I don't want to say feminism, but I think that there was a push towards treating women well, and obviously with cancel culture, etc., that there seems to be so much hoop jumping in terms of like, how can I feel and act masculine when sometimes the thing that I think of as being masculine goes against what I've been taught about how I should be in relationships with women. For example, I had a conversation with a guy friend. They are in a new relationship. And sometimes people talk about this where they compare body counts. Right? Okay.
Yeah,
Miles,
for
what's
sure.
your body count?
Nope.
Exactly. So at some point, they revealed their sexual histories to each other, which I think is a fair conversation to have. How detailed people get in terms of the number or specific experiences. Here's a piece of advice. Everybody has a past, but do you want those images or do you want those details in your head? And are they a benefit to your relationship or a detriment to your relationship?
I'm actually thinking of something that one of my most alpha male friends told me one time, and he literally said, he's like, verbatim, homie, stop asking questions you don't want to know the answers to.
Exactly. But as it so happens, this couple decided to be quite transparent about their histories with exes, their sexual history, etc. I welcome transparent conversations about sex. But as their homie, he was basically saying, I kind of feel some type of way about not having as many sexual experiences as my girlfriend does. Okay. At its core, it's not about her. And it's not that I feel weird about her having a very fun history. It's just that I feel like less of a man and I feel less masculine that I don't have the same extent of a history. I was telling him about all of these other qualities that he has that make him a very stand-up man that everyone would be proud of. But because I think that there's so few examples of like what being a man is, it's like, oh, being a man is fucking a lot of people. So what does being a man mean to you? And or alternatively, like, do you feel the same way sometimes? If you feel emasculated, is the immediate reaction was like, I'm gonna catch a puss. I've been humiliated somewhere else where I feel emasculated. I need to get laid.
Fuck. Also, please don't ever say catch a puss again. Please, for me. Say it with somebody else. But I think this is a super long question, and I think it's really important that we start having these conversations with ourselves as men. What I'm gonna say though is that there is this really silly thing that goes around with men are stupid, men are fucking simple. In a lot of ways, some men are stupid and some men are simple, just like all humans can be stupid and simple.
Right.
But men,
women too.
we have our own version of being complicated. We're not complicated the way that women are because our brains just work differently, which is okay. It's perfectly okay. You're sitting here being like, all of my besties who I love are men. You love us for a reason. Our brains are a certain way. But with that being said, there are just elements to our brain that work as such. For me personally, I would equally feel emasculated if my partner has had sex with more people than I do. Now, do I think in my like really big boy Substack reading level brain that I do have, I would feel that? No, but I don't always use that brain. I use my lizard brain a lot, and my lizard brain goes, red flag, I don't want to do that, because it makes me feel small. So that, I think, is just part of what society does teach us as men, that you should be with a woman who has barely had sex, who does all of these things, and
Couldn't be me.
and you get to just like beat your fucking chest and all this bullshit. But we're slowly unlearning these things. And like, I think that's why a big thing in at least the straight world is, I feel like I'm going to get burnt alive for this, but what I've noticed is in the cis male straight world, this whole open relationship thing, I think is really detrimental for men. Because it's like we do so much better statistically with a partner. We just do. Men really need purposes. Women statistically do way worse in life with a partner. Make this shit make sense, right?
Men who have a serious long-term partner often make more money, have better health outcomes, and live longer. Probably because their wife is taking care of them. They're providing them with healthy meals, conversation, all of the loving relationship stuff. And they thrive more with that stable relationship. Conversely, women do better on their own because no man is draining them of their life force, and they have networks of friendships that provide those same things.
I always tell you this. I'm always like, I'm so jealous of women because your guys' friendship is like, I jokingly call it like the covens. You guys grow up having sleepovers and doing each other's hair and borrowing clothes and touching each other and all of these things. Not sexually, just like you hug each other, you kiss each other. Like that is a form of femininity.
Some of us hug and kiss each other.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't grow up fucking hugging my friends. Men don't grow up doing each other's fucking hair. Like, you guys are just closer. I've always been like a little jealous of that. I think a version of that for men would be really good. Like, why don't guys say I love you to each other? It's fucking stupid. Of course I love my friends.
I do think more male friends are saying like, love ya, bud. But I find, interestingly, in the last year or two, that a lot of my guy friends, yourself included, don't shy away from it's a very intentional I love you.
I think because a lot of us fucking need to hear it.
Yeah.
And we realize that now because you have things like therapy. Again, though, I think the problem with a lot of us guys that you're referring to is this performative ass shit that I'm just tired of seeing. I don't want to see it. I would rather someone be a dickhead and own it than pretend they're like me.
What if it's not pretend? What if all of this kindness and thoughtfulness is so deeply ingrained in your head that it's sometimes harder to bring a more traditionally masculine persona to the front? So for example, why don't you try, instead of breaking up with your girlfriend and going around and fucking a bunch of other bitches just to feel like more of a man, and then you're going to lose out on the love of your life, I was like, what if you tried to gain more of a sense of masculinity within your relationship? Right? What if it was taking over a little bit more masculinity in the bedroom? I was like, have you ever tried being more dominant? And I was like talking him through some moves that he could make. For example, before you penetrate her, put your hand over her mouth and tell her, I'm not going to stick my cock in you until it's making you so nervous.
I think
So,
you can.
okay. I'll make it a little bit more PG.
Leave it on the pod. Just don't make it a clip.
How about you try something that's like kind of more of like a soft dom situation? Like, I don't think you need to break out the whips and chains and like beat the shit out of her immediately, but try something little like cover her mouth before you put it in and tell her you're not going to put it in until she says it's yours. You're so uncomfortable. See?
No, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
I'm comfortable. It's just funny.
And other fun things that you can do with your partner. As I was giving him these very specific dom sub dynamic type of tips, he just said, like, I'm going to note these down. However, I have never done this with my relationships with women because I love women and I wouldn't want to subjugate them to that. And I'm really scared of doing something that's gonna hurt them physically or emotionally. So I've never even dipped a toe
I relate to that.
in the bedroom.
I relate to that. Absolutely.
Because the whole like taking care of women and being emotionally attuned and feminist part of your brain sometimes maybe can't turn off. And then the only solution is like, well, I have to sleep with a lot of people as opposed to like
I just
being a little
also
bit more masculine when you're fucking.
I just also don't think like any gender necessarily people aren't always attracted to doming.
Of course.
They just aren't. Like I'm not. Like if someone whipped out like all like these toys, I would literally start laughing and be like, fucking no way, dude. I don't want to do that. It's just not attractive to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me like a bitch. I just don't think it's cool.
Right. No kink shaming or vanilla shaming. But I just mean like masculinity sometimes is about a power dynamic.
Because I think that we have taught boys to perform as boys. There's part of being a guy where you hear other guys talk about women all the time and they sound like dumbasses. I can't tell you how many times it happens to me. It happens when you get in an Uber with another guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's how guys start conversations with each other. They talk disgusting about women. Fucking newsflash.
Locker room talk.
I'm not going to even say that. It's just dumbass talk. And my whole life, I've like literally sat there just being like, because it's just not true. And maybe I have a sixth sense because I am a boy, but like, I'm just like, this is all a fucking lie. You've probably
really
had sex with one person and you probably paid for it. Straight up. My friends.
We support sex workers, by the way.
Of course, but I'm just like, stop.
But not losers who lie about.
But just stop. Just stop faking it. Like, it's just annoying. It's because we don't have that coven thing. I'm going back to that. We don't know how to talk to each other. We are not taught to talk to each other. We're taught to compete. Compete. Like, that's even why I think sports are kind of stupid. Think about sports. At least American sports. European sports, sorry, are just a little more chic. But American sports, think about it. You have these dudes that are extremely out of shape.
Gonna crash into each other.
Merch from a team that could literally care if they live or die, who owners literally support like everything that affects them negatively politically. Yeah. And they're just like eating nachos and screaming and ignoring their family.
While wearing another man's name all over their
while
body.
Ignoring their family.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why I have issues with like when I see, remember when we went to the airport in Italy and that guy's kids were like losing it and he was playing video games and
it just the mom with 3 kids in a stroller handling.
Do you remember how upset I was?
Yeah.
How the fuck is that masculine? I don't think that's masculine. I don't think it's feminine either. I just think you're a loser. Like, there's no masculinity in that. So if we define masculinity, like, do you want to know my definition?
Yeah.
It's like right now I feel very masculine because like the women in my life feel safe around me. My daughter feels safe around me. I'm able to at least put enough Trader Joe's groceries in the fridge so that like my kid doesn't have to think about food. Even the providing element of what we've been taught as men is like pretty dumb and silly. If we were once hunters, then sure, but we're not anymore. The most masculine you could be is like how safe you are. Yeah. Truly.
I really do think this idea that men should be providers. What does provider mean? Because on average, more women graduate with a college degree. More women make a salary of over $80,000 a year. Financially speaking, women are just doing better than young men right now and will continue.
Very much so.
Continue to do so. I really like that you said being masculine or being a good man to you right now is making the woman in your life feel safe. If I were to have a relationship with a man as opposed to a woman or someone who's non-binary now, I never need a guy to provide for me financially because I've always just made a ton more money than any guy that I've dated, except for maybe
I think also though
Ross.
there's something to talk about with that with women and men though. I mean, not every woman is like you. But I also think that's teaching women wrong, right? Like we're all relearning what the fuck this all means. Cuz I have met girls, I've gone on dates with girls who are there like literally verbatim, I'm trying to find a billionaire. You're not one. Like we can fuck, but that's where it ends. And yo, no harm, no foul. Go
Right.
off, queen. But like,
We're taught hypergamy. A woman must find a man who is taller, makes more money, more educated, et cetera, but like what happens when you're a woman that embodies some of these masculine traits? Like we haven't even talked about masculinity in women, right? Like I typically do better in my career, finance, taking care of shit, having a home, being a parent, et cetera, than men in my dating life.
yeah.
And so for me, being a masculine man as my partner is really about caregiving. I don't need you to buy dinner all the time, but like, can I rely on you to take care of me in a lot of emotional ways?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, boys aren't taught to emotionally care give.
Right.
Who's talking about it with us? Nobody's talking about that with us. If you're a broke guy, it's almost like you're like a murderer. I'm fucking serious.
In LA, yeah.
No,
I was
in
like,
general.
in an expensive city like LA, if you're a broke guy, how do you even get off the dating apps? Like, do you lie about your job? And then what? What about date 1, date 2? What about date 3? It's
But
like,
I'm also
okay.
experiencing this thing that's happening right now, which is interesting that we're talking, and I'll be like super upfront. Almost 100% of my revenue stream is dedicated to my overhead and my daughter's overhead. My daughter has a very high overhead.
As she should.
Can these things be manipulated and I'll have more cash flow and exploit? Yeah, duh. But that is where most of my money is allocated. Almost 92% of it at this current time.
You want to date? What happens?
I am currently with somebody who is very aware of this, very much like you. I don't care. I don't need you. I never needed you. And there's just a thing that is known. I
Financially.
Yes.
But she needs you in other ways.
But historically, I find that to be very emasculating, and I am relearning to define my masculinity through all of this. I think, though, that I'm in like the 1%. Like, I actually feel lucky. But most guys, like, you're not taught this shit. You're just, think of like a random kid in Iowa who's 14. First of all, what are his options? Secondly, what is he doing all day? Third, does he have a dad? If he does have a dad, does his dad fucking play video games all day and watch his sports? Or is that his dad actively in his life? You take all these factors and you get back and then you wonder why there's fucking incels. Of course there's fucking incels. We have no knowledge. We have no coven. Boys need unks so much more than ever before. If you are over 30, like, I seriously implore you to at least have like 2 relationships with a guy that's younger than you in a mentor capacity. It goes so far.
Or do they need aunts? Do they need aunties?
Yeah, of course they need aunts, but by and large, they probably have them. It's just different when you're a boy getting advice from a guy versus a girl. I'm sorry. It just is. And that sucks, but it's true.
But then where do you think you learned this emotional caregiving from? From the good men in your life, or is it from your female friendships?
I mean, am I fucking an emotional caregiver though? Like, I struggle with that too. You know, like, I'm not like a great person. Like, I think a lot of people who know me would disagree with that, but like, I don't walk around like I'm some great fucking person. Like, I have fucked up most of my relationships. I have had like severe financial hardships. I have a fucking horrible relationship with my mom. I don't know. But what I can say is what I try to operate from is like what I felt like when I was 11. Do the opposite for everybody else. Like, I don't want you to feel how I felt at 11. So, like, I'm going to overcommit in these ways of emotional caregiving.
I mean, back to how I said I tend to accept the bare minimum, because so many of the men in my life had given me the bare minimum, and now I have such a good group of guy friends who give me more than that. I'm not saying that any of y'all are as much of an emotional caregiver as I think I am sometimes, but we're not trying to be tit for tat here. I think that it's so refreshing to even get more than the bare minimum.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
because like I am a woman, I have female friendships, I was raised in these covens or whatever it is. I have a much, much higher capacity to pick up the phone when you call or text me about some difficulty that you're having, and being there to like listen, give advice, and like be empathetic or whatever for you, then I find is necessary the other way around.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
in those times, like let's say it's like 7 times I'm listening to you, 3 times you're listening to me. Those 3 times already feel like so much more than the 0 times that I got from a partner. We're doing this again and again and again over years, and yet you were still such a shitty man.
I mean, you are also talking to someone though that is a girl dad, and when I read the study, the psychological study of how a dad literally dictates his daughter's relationships with men for the rest of her fucking life, I was like, oh, bet.
That's my
bet.
Substack.
I literally want my daughter to be a ruthless fucking on her own 2 feet, ruthless about what she will accept and not accept. And when I realized that shit came from me, I was like, I'm going to literally redirect my entire life. Again, though, so rare.
Which is why you pour so much love and so much attention for her, so she won't accept breadcrumbs as a whole meal.
I mean,
when she's a grown woman.
But there's also that element with guys, right? It's like, how many fucking conversations have I had with men? Oh, you better buy a shotgun when she turns 18. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. I should buy a shotgun to shoot your dumbass. No, but seriously, like, you know, in farming, like a lame cow, how they kill them?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a lot of these guys. Like, you're like a lame cow. You provide nothing. The single-handedly most ruthless father for a girl is the one that, like, lets her boyfriend in, has him eat dinner with them. If he's a dumbass, says nothing. That is more cutting than anything you will ever do, because a daughter who actually knows her dad, she knows what that means.
And a daughter who knows herself. Like, she will be self-critical enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm with a loser.
Literally, there's more in saying nothing between a daughter and father than there ever will be in intimidation. You know what intimidation makes your daughter do? Go date 800 more fucking losers. Because you're a fucking loser. But, like, again, we don't talk about this shit as guys. Because if I said this to those dudes, they'd be like, oh, dude, I don't want to deal with your freaking machismo now. You're arguing a point to me that you don't even get to make. You don't even have fucking kids. Shut the fuck up. Like, and that's another thing is, like, guys just have never learned to shut the fuck up. We're not taught to be quiet.
Do you feel like you were a different man before and after you had kids, though? And is the problem that people are not having kids anymore? Like, no one I know in Gen Z is like, oh, yeah, I want a family one day. They're like, nope, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids.
I was a mosquito to women. I was a leech. Not necessarily, like, financially, but an emotional leech. That was my relationship to women.
You had a daughter.
I looked at women. I didn't know this at the time, but I looked at women as the place to literally dump all of my emotional irregularity into. That is what they served for me at all times. That's it. That's pretty fucking toxic.
Yeah. I don't think your partner should have to be your best friend and lover and therapist and cook and life coach.
Oh, I didn't even say any of those things. I said I literally saw them as an emotional wasteland for my dysregularity. I feel like shit. You are the only place I'm going to put any of that. I didn't even use any adjectives. I'm saying that's like base level shitty ass treatment.
Yeah.
Again, did I know I was doing it? No. Am I sorry? Of course. Have I learned from it? Absolutely. That is what women played in my life, though. My whole life.
This is a classic example of if there's a guy treating you like shit, he's just punishing you for everything his mom did.
Most likely, yeah. Most likely, yeah.
That's what I'm cognizant of as a boy mom, too.
But also,
how is my son going to treat women based on my relationship with him?
There's tiers to this. My mom is an extremely masculine woman. I always figured that any girl I was with can take the heat. The metaphor of taking the heat. This dumping of emotional irregularity because my mom can. My mom's tougher than anyone I've ever met. Survivor. So I was taking it out on them because I'm trying to win an argument against my mom from 25 years ago.
I'm reminded of this joke a comedian said where his girlfriend's so much hotter than him, and by all accounts he should not be able to score a woman like her, and so men just assume he's either really rich or has a huge dong, and he's like, have you ever considered that maybe she just has a really shitty dad?
I mean, maybe.
If you don't think I should be with your daughter, it's because of you, man. And I think that way about myself. It's I have so much self-confidence in who I've become as a person, and yet I think I tolerate a lot of misbehavior because I have a shitty dad.
I mean, at least you're noticing it though, right? Yeah, I think society is a long way away from being healed.
Because I have a son, because I date 23-year-olds. No. What is a model of masculinity that we hope to see for our friends who are millennials, for Gen Z, Gen Alpha? What is a good man, or what is the epitome of masculinity? I don't know.
What I have found most healing is the ability to communicate and the ability to shut the fuck up. Maybe start there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met your son. He is so good at advocating for himself. Maybe that's what masculinity is.
Yeah. And he's allowed to have big emotions, and we never tell him to shy away from that, but we also want him to be accountable and be able to self-regulate.
Exactly, but a boy who can advocate for themselves verbally and is not taught to do that through violence, I think that's really pushing the needle forward. I wasn't taught that. As
economics change, maybe one day there'll be universal basic income because AI and the singularity is coming for us.
Yeah.
I do hope that men draw from classic femininity and learn to be providers emotionally.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I don't need someone to buy me dinners or take me on flights, but I want someone to give me a really good hug and someone I can take my customer service voice off for.
Yeah.
Just be really loving. And choke me when I ask.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Don't.
This is why we could never be together.
Fuck yeah.
If you have any experiences of having good men in your life, or you have some ideas where masculinity is headed, leave us a voicemail at heybestie@spilfpodcast.com.
I feel like they're all going to be people that are going to be like, Miles was a fucking asshole.
And if so, we'll take a listen to them and you can laugh along with us.
I also have my theories about everyone's an asshole, but whatever. People keep coming up to me and are quoting SPILF and being like, you and Joey. And it's really encouraging, especially because I just assume no one ever cares about anything I'm talking about. So please keep sharing this and tell your friends and follow us and send these voice notes. This stuff actually means a lot.
Yeah, we read every single comment. We see every and it's really encouraging us. And it's hard for us to find time to do this because we both have multiple jobs, have multiple children, and we really value our IRL friendship time.
Yes.
So the more you do, subscribe, follow, comment, share. the more it helps us keep doing this.
And we'll try to be more consistent.
Thanks for supporting us. Bye.